everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a super fun and adorable tutorial for you. We're making a cute little panda cake. I'm going to walk you through each step, how to stack, sculpt, and decorate this fluffy panda design. And while we're at it, I'll share some tips and tricks to make your cake decorating journey a little smoother. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk flavor first. This cake is cookies and cream, so it's white and chocolate cake, and then the filling is a rich cream cheese based frosting that really brings out the delicious cookies and creams taste. Here's a pro tip: for the outer ring of frosting between the layers, I use buttercream. Why? Because buttercream sets firmer when it's chilled, and it gives the cake more stability and helps avoid any wobbling after it's set. Now let's talk about structure. For cakes like this with the head and the body, I treat them the same way I would a tiered cake. So there will be supports in the bottom, and a cake circle in between the tiers. You can use dowels, wide straws, or even lollipop sticks. I went with skewers in this one because it was a smaller cake, so it doesn't need as much support. If you're just beginning, jumbo boba straws are a great tool to use because they can be cut easily with scissors. You don't need something special like a dowel cutter or a saw to get through them. And this is maybe the #1 cake making tip I can tell beginners. It might seem pretty obvious, so bear with me, but never work with warm cake. Always be sure that your cakes are nice and chilled before stacking, and then chilled again before carving. Chilling helps make the cake firmer and easier to handle, and it won't crumble as much. Warm cake, big no-go. Next up is the fondant. If you're new to working with fondant, here's a quick tip. Roll your fondant just a little thicker than you expect you're going to need. This will help when you get towards the bottom of the cake because it'll be thicker as you're stretching it to make it fit the shape. You'll have less chance of having tearing. Before you roll your fondant out, make sure that you have everything that you need in place. All your tools and things should be at your fingertips. Once the fondant's rolled out, you've got to move quickly to smooth it and avoid drying and cracking. And be careful with how much cornstarch you use on the surface that you're rolling it out on. Too much can make the fondant dry out more quickly, and nobody wants that. Another cool tip, if it's not a super big piece that you need to roll out, you can always roll your fondant out on a silicone mat because you can pick up the mat and peel the fondant off without worrying about it sticking. And now for the fun part, we get to add all the details that are going to make this really look like a panda. For the mouth, you could choose to paint it on with edible paints or an edible marker, but I think it makes a nice finished look if you roll out a thin piece of black fondant and then simply glue that on. And when I say glue, you have a couple of options. You could use Tylus powder that's mixed with water, which makes this edible food glue, but what I would recommend for working with black fondant on white fondant is just take a tiny dab of vegetable shortening. It's enough to help the black pieces adhere to the white pieces. They'll stick on there nicely, but you don't have to worry about using a water-based material that might make the colors bleed onto the white. Sometimes when you add a black feature onto the white fondant, and if you have to reposition it, you might see some smudges left behind of the black fondant. So that's always nice to keep in mind. So for his feet, I just used 2 Rice Krispies smushed together, and then I rolled the edges of them to smooth out the harsh corners. Then I covered those pieces in black fondant. For the patches around his eyes, I freehanded them, but you could also use a rounded cookie cutter to get your shape going, and then trim away at it, just to be sure that the 2 shapes you're starting out with are pretty symmetrical. The eyes, I simply rolled a ball with my hand and then smushed it a little bit flatter so that it wasn't poking out of his face like a little chihuahua. And now you can add some finishing touches. You can make little highlights in his eyes or give him little rosy cheeks. You could also add something for him to hold. I gave him a little bamboo here, but you could give him a heart or whatever. You could make him a little birthday party hat. That would be really cute. Honestly, it's the small details that really make the cake pop and look super cute. And that's how you customize them for, the special person that you're baking this for, or customer. And there you have it, a super cute and delicious panda cake. It's a lot easier than it looks when you break it down into these easy steps, so I hope these tips and tricks will help your next cake project go a little bit smoother. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more sweet cake making fun. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments also. So thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you in the next one. Happy birthday. Happy baking, not happy birthday. Happy baking, bye!